Hi everyone, Patek here. Welcome to SFF Spotlight episode 36. Those of you who watch my SFF Spotlight videos will know the drill already by now. This is where I talk about new book news, new special edition, new noteworthy release, and also new cover reveals in the adult science fiction and fantasy genre. And also, before I get started, I think some of you might have seen my community post. This is regarding where I get invited by Brandon Sanderson to his house to talk about Secret Project number 3. And unfortunately, because I did not have a visa, a US visa, I couldn't make it there. And yeah, it is such a missed opportunity, but at the same time, I'm really glad that Brandon Sanderson and his team love my content on my YouTube channel. And I think, yeah, I just want to say that. And thank you so much to all of you who keep on supporting my channel. And now I will start talking about SFF Spotlight episode 36. And the first order of news is regarding John Gwynne's newest book. Now, this isn't exactly a completely new news, and also this hasn't been fully confirmed. But I saw on Reddit, I think this was 2 months ago, or I think last month, yeah. On Reddit, someone posted the title of the third book in the Bloodsworn Saga. This is printed on the paperback copy, on the mass market paperback copy of Hunger of the Gods. So it seems like the third book in the Bloodsworn Saga will be titled The Fury of the Gods. Yes, I think that is a badass title. My prediction for the third title in the Bloodsworn Saga by John Gwynne was War of the Gods or Wrath of the Gods. So I think this is quite close enough to Fury of the Gods. But do note, this is not the final confirmation that the title will be the Fury of the Gods. But if it is, I think that is an awesome title. And I think this is just a confirmation that this book will be coming whenever John Gwynne is ready with it. Considering what has happened to John Gwynne and his family 2 years ago, I say take all the time he needs. I am sure the final result of the Fury of the Gods will be worth it. And well, this is just to give you a heads up that the title of the third book will possibly be The Fury of the Gods, and I am waiting for it. I know that many of you are as well. And speaking of unreleased book, the second piece of news in today's episode will be regarding Champion of the Fallen by M.L. Spencer. Now, this is not to give any pressure to M.L. Spencer, but M.L. Spencer recently talked about this in her newest newsletter, and it seems like Champion of the Fallen, the sequel to Dragon Mage, is delayed indefinitely. And yeah, she's been struggling a bit regarding writing the sequel. She's facing burnout, a bout of depression, and of course, life happens. And also, remember that Dragon Mage was originally a one-off standalone novel, but because there were a lot of positive demands for a sequel, it became a trilogy. So I think that's also will play a part into why Champion of the Fallen is harder to write. But again, I love Dragon Mage. If anyone can write a great sequel, of course, it will have to be M.L. Spencer, and I will be waiting patiently for it. And moving on to the next topic, The Jade Setter of Janloon by Fonda just won the Best Novella Award in the Aurora Award. And I think that is an acclaim well deserved. I love that novella, and of course, because I am a huge fan of the Greenbone Saga, if you haven't read The Jade Setter of Janloon and Jade Shards, I think you should really read those two novellas. Well, the other one is a collection of short stories, but it is still very much worth it. I love them both, and if you are a fan of the Greenbone Saga, you will love them as well. Now, some of you asked me whether you can still get the copy of The Jade Setter of Janloon or not. Well, unfortunately for the physical copy, it might not be possible. If you want the second printing of The Jade Setter of Janloon, I think it is still available on Subterranean Press. But they are expensive. They are $45 for a novella. If you want a more cheaper option, of course you can go for the ebook. You can buy it on Subterranean Press website or on Amazon. And this applies to Jade Shards as well. And yeah, I just want to give you a reminder, if you haven't read those two yet, and you are a fan of the Greenbone Saga, please give it a read. And I want to say congratulations to Fonda for winning the Best Novella Award in the Aurora Award for The Jade Setter of Janloon. And next, of course, I have to talk about Dragonsteel Leatherbound edition. So Brandon Sanderson and Dragonsteel has announced that now every Leatherbound edition is available on their website. All the Dragonsteel Leatherbound Cosmere edition are now available to purchase. Now, none of them are signed, but if you, like me, just want to collect every book in the Cosmere with the Leatherbound edition, this is your chance. And I think there is actually an option to immediately buy all of them at once. The price is, it's supposed to be $900, but it's been discounted to $850. Now, I should remind you one thing though. I know $850 for 9 books, well, it's expensive. But if you are someone who loves the Cosmere and you want to collect the Leatherbound edition, I will let you know about this because the shipping fee is flat rate. So if you buy all of them at once, the shipping fee will remain at $65 for international shipping fee. And I assume it will be cheaper if you're located in the USA. Yes, so let's say you buy 1 book. The price of that shipping fee, international shipping fee, is $65. And if you buy 9 books, the international shipping fee will still be $65. So yeah, I think that's something to really consider. I wish I have that option when I buy some of the Leatherbound edition. Right now, at this moment, the only Dragonsteel Leatherbound edition that I don't have is the Elantris one. And for the rest, I can safely say that they are worth their price if you love the Cosmere. They are so gorgeous and stunning, very, very high quality. And for the next topic, I know the Dragonsteel Leatherbound edition is still expensive despite that very generous, relatively generous international shipping fee. But for the next one, this will be a cheaper one. This is for the entire Malazan books by Steven Erikson. So if you're okay with reading the ebooks of Malazan Book of the Fallen by Steven Erikson, actually not only Malazan Book of the Fallen, but also the Karkanas trilogy and also The God is Not Willing and also the novellas, pretty much every book in the Malazan world by Steven Erikson, you now can get them all for $18. Yes, you can get this on Humble Bundle. And if you're someone who interested in trying Malazan Book of the Fallen, I do not think for ebook it can get cheaper than this. I do not think it can get cheaper than this officially anyway. And yeah, I think you really should try looking at it, especially if you have an e-reader like Kindle Paperwhite or Kobo. Yeah, definitely take a look at Humble Bundle promotion for Malazan World by Steven Erikson. And now let's move on to the next section of SFF Spotlight. It's time to talk about some animated and TV show stuff. And for the first one, well, Dune Part 2 and also War of the Rohirrim, the animated Lord of the Rings adaptation, both of them have been delayed to the year 2024. For Dune Part 2, it will be delayed to March or April? I think March 2024. And for War of the Rohirrim, it will be delayed to December 2024. So yeah, it will still be a while before we get around to watching them. But I do hope that the final result of these two will be worth the wait. I have kinda no hope in Rings of Power, but I love Dune Part 1 very much, and I hope Dune Part 2 will deliver everything that I need in a Dune movie adaptation, because Dune Part 1 only adapt the first half of Dune. So yeah, looking forward to watching Dune and War of the Rohirrim eventually. For those of you who are disappointed with this news, be patient. Remember that patience is virtue. And for the next one, this is regarding Pantheon by, I think, AMC. Yeah, so Pantheon is an animated show. The first season is now available on Apple TV. Now, for those of you who don't know and haven't watched this one, Pantheon is actually adapted from Ken Liu's collection of short stories in the Hidden Girl and Other Stories. I love this season 1. I think it is so underrated somehow. Well, underrated might not be a precise term here because Pantheon is actually rated 100% positive on Rotten Tomatoes at this moment, at the time of recording this video. But somehow, no one talk about Pantheon, and I think that is a shame. It is so good. I do think that the animation can be improved, but regarding the storyline and also the direction, I think everything about Pantheon was really good, and it is such a shame that apparently there won't be season 2. It is a shame because Pantheon only adapted one short story by Ken Liu in the Hidden Girl and Other Stories, and in total there were 5 short stories. So I think it could have worked for 5 or 4 seasons. So yeah, it is so unfortunate. The first season was really good and it probably won't be continued anytime soon. I do highly recommend you to watch season 1 on Apple TV or on AMC. And now one more news, and then we will talk about some Kickstarter projects and also special edition. And for the next one, this is regarding the season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, for those of you who love the manga, like me, I think you know what's coming, right? It is the Shibuya arc in Jujutsu Kaisen. Arguably the best story arc in the entire Jujutsu Kaisen so far, although the current chapters have been pretty insane. lately. But this news is regarding Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 Shibuya Arc anime adaptation trailer. Yeah, the trailer is out now and it looks absolutely incredible. It looks like it's everything that I hope. And also the song by King Gnu Specials is so catchy. I love the song very much. And right now I think the trailer already accumulated more than 7 million views. I think that is impressive and well deserved. Very much looking forward to this one. I think this part of Season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen will premiere on August 31st. So yeah, not long from now, less than a week. So that's it for the topic of TV show and anime adaptation. Now let's move on to the next section of SFF Spotlight. Time to talk about some Kickstarter projects and also special edition. Let's start with the Kickstarter projects first. So with the completion of Legends and Lattes Deluxe Hardcover Edition, Wraithmarked just announced their next Kickstarter project. This will be for Pets of Sona by Richard A. Knaak. Now, I don't know anything about this book, but supposedly this one is a hardcover and limited edition taking place in the world of Sona from Squidmar Miniatures universe. If you're interested in this one, make sure to check out the Kickstarter campaign. Now, the Kickstarter campaign hasn't gone live yet, but the page is up now. The second Kickstarter project I want to mention today is regarding The Legend of Tal. The first book is titled A King's Bargain by J.D.L. Rossell. So yeah, the Kickstarter campaign for this one is up now and it has been fully funded. But this one has an interior artworks done by Omer Burak Onal and then Joel Kaim and Andrew Maleski. I think this edition will turn out very nice. The book itself has been pitched as The Witcher meets The Name of the Wind. I haven't read this book yet, but also I do think that the premise sounds interesting to me. The entire series is completed already, so there will be a Kickstarter project for the second book, third book, and fourth book as well for the deluxe hardcover edition for the entire Legend of Tal. I highly recommend you to check out the Kickstarter campaign for the Legend of Tal and of course for the next one as well. The next one is for The Other Magic by Derrick Smythe. So for this one, I have talked about this in my previous SFF Spotlight, but when I talk about it, it hasn't gone live yet. Now, today it will go live. And the limited deluxe hardcover edition for The Other Magic will feature a cover art by Madeline Design, interior illustrations by Omer Burak Onal again. As far as beauty goes, I think this one actually looks even better than Legend of Tal, A King's Bargain. But both of them actually looks pretty stunning in my opinion. And for The Other Magic by Derrick Smythe, again, this is another book that I haven't read, but I think so far many of my friends on Goodreads really love this book. So I think that is a positive sign because I do click with a lot of my friends on Goodreads. Plus, it is always a good thing to have a book with an interior artworks done by Omer Burak Onal. I think he is an artist that keeps getting better and better with each project, and you will see more of his work in today's SFF Spotlight episode. And finally, the last Kickstarter campaign I want to mention today will be for The Fate of Wizardoms Deluxe Collector Edition by Jeffrey Kohanek. Same as The Other Magic by Derrick Smythe, this one will also premiere today. I have talked about this one also, I think, on my SFF Spotlight episode 2 episodes ago. This one will collect the entire Fate of the Wizardom series, the entire 6-book series, into 2 Omnibus Deluxe Edition. Whether it's The Other Magic or Fate of Wizardoms, both of them will feature Smithsoon binding, high production value, and also premium paper, acid-free paper, and also interior artworks. So that's it for the topic of Kickstarters. Now let's talk about some special edition. And well, to be more precise, I will just be talking about some broken binding announcements. This is another company that keeps getting better and better. Believe me, I just finished talking about it with the broken binding yesterday, and believe me that next year it will have so many amazing additions and announcements. Seriously, if you are a fan of fantasy and sci-fi, make sure to pay attention to the broken binding, especially next year. But anyway, for the first announcements, this is regarding The Will of the Many by James Islington. So the broken binding edition for The Will of the Many by James Islington has been announced. The Will of the Many is my favorite book of the year so far, and this one will have cover art by Katrina Paints. Katrina Paints is implementing a painting style for this edition, and it will be applied to the end papers and also on the cover art. Now, this kind of cover art might have garnered some mixed reception. Those who love it really love it. Those who disliked it felt disappointed with it. As always, that is the nature of art. It is always subjective. I think many readers on Twitter and Instagram, those are the ones that I've seen anyway, those really love this special edition of The Will of the Many. But I think there are some negative opinions regarding this cover art on the Facebook group. again, as I said, every opinion is valid. I do honestly hope there will be some changes to the front cover art though, because this off in the Wheel of the Many looks kind of jarring compared to the centered The Wheel the Many. That's really my opinion on it, but I just want to say that I did help a bit on this special edition because I chose the quote features on the back cover of the Wheel of the Many Broken Binding Edition, and I think that was really fun for me to choose which quote to be featured, and I hope I chose a great one because that is one of my favorite quotes from the Wheel of the Many. And believe me, it is not easy. There were a lot of quotes and passages that I love from the Wheel of the Many. But I just want to say thank you so much to Broken Binding and also Katrina Paints for inviting me to collaborate on helping with this special edition of the Wheel of the Many. And moving on to the next one, this is about the Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. The Broken Binding edition for the Bone Season 10th Anniversary Edition has been announced, and it will feature a cover art done by the same artist who did The Priory of the Orange Tree and also Day of Fallen Night. Ivan Belikov is doing the cover art again. And if you take a look at the design, it is similar to the Broken Binding edition of the Roots of Chaos duology. Now, I already own the Broken Binding edition of the Priory of the Orange Tree and also Day of Fallen Night, and I think I will have to get myself a copy of the Bone Season as well just to match my copies. Have I read anything by Samantha Shannon? I haven't, so I hope this will be a worthy investment. And moving on to the next one, this is about the Powder Mage Trilogy by Brian McClellan, the Broken Binding edition again. So the Broken Binding has revealed the digital mock-up and the details of the Powder Mage Trilogy, the Broken Binding edition. Once again, I have talked about this in one of my SFF Spotlight, but this time you can really see how the end paper, how the naked hardcover, and how the hardcover will turn out, along with the spray edges. Rene Eichner, the illustrator behind this project, did such an excellent job on everything regarding the Powder Mage Trilogy, whether it's the cover art, the naked hardcover, the end paper, or the 4H painting. Everything turned out so damn well, and I think the final result will look even better. This might end up being even more superior compared to the Bone Shape Trilogy, and believe me, that is a hard edition to top. We will see how it turns out. And finally, for the last Broken Binding edition announcement, this is regarding The Fall by Ryan Cahill. This is the Broken Binding Press edition of The Fall. Now, the release date for to buy it hasn't been revealed yet, but you can see this gorgeous end paper by Omer Burak Onal. I think this is one of the best pieces of art that I have ever seen. It looks so good. I think putting the cover art in the front and end paper to have them connected is such a brilliant decision. And this time, I did not actually have too much of an involvement regarding this artwork. I did talk about this a bit with Ryan Cahill when I met him when we were in Bali. And yeah, I already knew that this end paper is coming, and even then, seeing the final results still blew my mind away. I think Omer did such an incredible job on this one. I mean, just take a look at this end paper. This is just the end paper. We haven't even begun to talk about the interior artworks again by Randy Vargas and Felix Ortiz. I think overall, this edition of The Fall will turn out so much better than Of Blood and Fire. And Of Blood and Fire, the Broken Binding Press edition already looked really good. So yeah, that's it for the topic of Kickstarter campaign and also special editions or the Broken Binding editions. Yeah, for today's episode, I don't have anything, any special edition again to spotlight except for the Broken Binding and also the Kickstarter projects. So yeah, it is time to move on to the next section of SFF Spotlight. Time to mention noteworthy release first, and then I will talk about some cover reveals. For noteworthy release, I have two books to spotlight today. The first one is about He Who Drowned the World by Shelley Parker-Chan. This is the second book in the Radiant Emperor duology, the sequel to She Who Became the Sun, and it is out now. I really love She Who Became the Sun, and it seems like many readers who loved the first book have read He Who Drowned the World, and pretty much every one of them agreed that He Who Drowned the World is even better. The difficult stuff for me is always trying to find the right time to actually fit this into my reading pile, because I just want to read everything, and that includes the other noteworthy release I'm going to mention next. This is regarding Sky Thief by Matthew Wolfe. Matthew Wolfe is the author behind the Ronin Saga, and Sky Thief is his newest book. I think Sky Thief is not related to the Ronin Saga because this one is a lit RPG progression fantasy. This is an underdog story about Dren who suddenly gets transported into a different world, and now he will have to try everything to survive in that new world. And also, the author has pitched this to be suitable to those who love Cradle and also those who love the humor in Dungeon Crawler Carl. I haven't read that series yet, but Dungeon Crawler Carl is another very popular right now lit RPG series. So yeah, I think this is a really good pitch, and I hope to read Sky Thief as soon as I can. I just have too many review requests and TBR piles to get through. It is hard to decide which book I read next. Always a difficult matter, but hopefully I can get to this one as soon as I can. And the same goes for He Who Drowned the World and many other books that I haven't mentioned today. And now let's move on to the final section of SFF Spotlight. Time to talk about some cover reveals. And for the first one, this is regarding the final cover reveal, the final result of the Empire of Silence Diamond Edition by Christopher Ruocchio. So Christopher Ruocchio just released this to those who back the Kickstarter project. This is the final result and the final design for Empire of Silence Diamond Edition. The one who did the design is Jenna Ruocchio. Yeah, Christopher Ruocchio's wife, and I think it looks absolutely incredible. I love the cover art already by James Cook, but this design really made the cover art pops. The intention behind this kind of cover design is to invoke a space opera, a 80s space opera novel, except that it is modern space opera, and I think it looks amazing. It really achieved its intention, and I cannot wait to get my copy of the Diamond Edition of Empire of Silence. But I don't know when that will happen, probably in January or February, and I don't think I can wait any longer, so I think I will be reading Empire of Silence next month. And the next beautiful cover reveal I want to spotlight today is for Phantom Folk by Eliza Chan. This one has a cover art done by Kelly Chong, and just take a look at this. I will let the art speak for itself. I think it looks so beautiful, and it really reminded me of The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart, and the premise is kinda similar as well. And of course, Orbit actually pitched this to those who love The Bone Shard Daughter, and I love The Bone Shard Daughter. So I will definitely read this Asian-inspired fantasy novel and debut next year in 2024. I think the release date for this one is February 2024. Looking forward to this one very much. And the next cover reveal is regarding a Dragon Rider epic fantasy, but this time it is not for a self-published fantasy series, because I think some of you might know regarding Dragon Mage, The Bound and the Broken, and also Songs of Chaos. Dragon Rider epic fantasy is popular and really good again in the modern fantasy genre. But this time, this is for traditionally published fantasy. So apparently, some traditional publisher finally accepted that Dragon Rider epic fantasy is still beloved. I have no idea whether this is because of Fourth Wing or this popular Dragon Rider epic fantasy series that I just mentioned. But either way, I am happy that this is coming out. This is Dragon Rider. Yes, the title is Dragon Rider by Taran Mataru. And the cover art is done by Bastian Dehem, and I think it looks beautiful. And of course, because this is a Dragon Rider epic fantasy, I think there's a really good chance with the right marketing and the right promotion, this will click with a lot of readers. And of course, well, it goes without saying that the book have to be good first. And I will keep my fingers crossed the book is indeed really good. And speaking of self-published fantasy, the remaining 3 topics in today's SFF Spotlight videos, the remaining 3 cover reveals, all of them will be for self-published fantasy books. And because I just talked about Dragon Rider, well, the next one is for A Time of Dragons, Once There Were Heroes by Philip C. Quenchel. Philip C. Quenchel is the author behind the Echo Saga, another great Dragon Rider epic fantasy, as some of you might know from my reviews on the Echo Saga last year. I read through all the available 9 books in the Echo Saga last year, and I really enjoyed it. And hopefully, this one, A Time of Dragon, a long prequel series to the Echo Saga, will be even better than the Echo Saga. And yeah, the first book, the title is Once There Were Heroes, and the cover art is done, of course, by Chris McGrath. Chris McGrath did all the cover art of Philip C. Quenchel's book, and I'm glad Philip C. Quenchel is sticking with this decision, because it turns out very stunning. And you don't actually have to wait long for this one, because Once There Were Heroes will be released in the month of September. You can actually pre-order a book. You can actually pre-order this book now. And for the next one, this will be For the Ruins of Smoke by Joao Silva. Cover art to this one is done by Blood, which is the same cover artist and designer who did the cover to Seeds of War, a Joao Silva debut novel. And the prequel novella is now ready to be read, I think. You can actually read this prequel novella, I think, right now. Some viewers of mine, like Sean, I know you are watching this, have been saying many great things about Seeds of War, and I think it is such a shame that I still haven't read Seeds of War yet, because I already own the advanced reading copy of it for quite a while now. But again, as I always say, I just have too much. I just have too many review requests, and that is a blessing and also a curse, because it is difficult for me to read everything I want. I wish that I can have more hours in a day, and more hours in a day is definitely necessary for this next and final topic of today's SFF Spotlight. This is about Windrunner by Pirateaba. The next ebook edition in the Wandering Inn that you can purchase from Amazon is now available, and the cover reveal is done by John Anthony Di Giovanni, as always. I actually scratched that. I do not think that the book is ready to purchase already. I mean, the book is ready to pre-order, but the book isn't out yet. I think this will be out in the month of September. But yeah, the cover reveal is out already. Again, John Anthony Di Giovanni is one of my favorite artists, and I think he did a wonderful job illustrating every cover art in the Wandering Inn. And this one is another massive book in the Wandering Inn series by Pirateaba, one of the largest series of all time. I think right now it is more than 12 million words long already. Yeah, it is a commitment, okay? A lifetime commitment, I think, for me, because I just have so many books I want to read, and I cannot imagine diving into the Wandering Inn right now. But I will definitely do that someday. I pretty much heard nothing but amazing things about this series, and once again, congrats on the beautiful cover reveal to Pirateaba and John Anthony Di Giovanni. Alright, that's a wrap for today's SFF Spotlight episode, and let me know, what do you think about today's news and which one excited you the most? As always, I just want to say thank you so much once again to all of you who keeps on tuning on my SFF Spotlight episode. It seems like this month I actually did 3 SFF Spotlight episodes, but there are just too many news, as you can probably tell from the previous episode and also today's episode. If I actually waited for 2 weeks, the episode will actually contain 40 topics, and that's just too much, because the previous episode already has, I think, more than 20 topics, and today we were talking about more than 20 topics as well. As you can probably tell, it is not easy to compile SFF Spotlight, but it is always a worthy endeavor when I know it is beneficial to many of you. And I'm not gonna lie, even though it is hard work, I also kind of like making SFF Spotlight. So yeah, enough rambling, and I just want to say thank you so much once again for watching my videos, and thank you for your support. Bye bye. Lastly, I want to say thank you so much once again to all my patrons who keep on supporting me.